Alright, so in this lifetime you're going to experience many goals and desires that you have that ask a certain amount of belief in yourself in order to make them come true. Now, if you have a lack of belief in yourself, then it might feel difficult to actually achieve your dreams. So this video is for people that really sense that they're aware of their dreams, but they still feel like doubts, worries, and fears, a lack of belief. Well, let's talk about some techniques that can help you change that all around starting today from the actual comfort of your own home. You can just start right where you are. You don't have to do anything crazy in order to improve the beliefs in yourself, the confidence within yourself. Because once that starts to grow, once it becomes bigger and stronger, well, then you're in a position of actually make your dreams come true once and for all. Alright, brothers and sisters, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about believing in yourself, believing in ourselves. Have you ever grown up in life and you heard people say, you just gotta believe in yourself? Perhaps you weren't believing nearly as much in yourself as you should for the task at hand. Maybe you felt this for yourself at times where you were like, if only I believed a little bit more in myself, perhaps then I could achieve the good that I desire to have for myself in my life. Now, this concept of believing in ourselves is closely related to confidence in ourselves. Absolute confidence that we are able to do something good and great with our lives. As long as that's missing, we're gonna feel stuck. Why? Because it's one or the other. You either have an abundance of believing in yourself or lack of it. There's no in between. It's like I have a little bit of confidence here and there and a little bit of lack of confidence here and there. Of course, there's areas where we're more comfortable because we're more used to doing certain things, so we don't doubt ourselves. But then when it comes to the big things in life, you might suddenly start doubting ourselves and our abilities. Now, what is the remedy? Absolute confidence, absolute belief in yourself. So we want to restore that divine belief in ourselves, that yes, because we have a consciousness, the universe gave us a mind that we can use. We do also have the power to have absolute belief in ourselves and restore what is lacking right now. Now let's think about this for a second, because this is how I was growing up in my life. I remember for a long time, I would always be nervous meeting new people. It would go as far as to be nervous meeting a girl that I would fancy. I mean, we all probably went through a phase like that. As children, you have a little crush on somebody and you're kind of scared of, telling them. You're afraid that they will reject you, right? So you're kind of scared of expressing your love, your feeling in love for them. Now, when we grow older, usually it becomes easier. But for some people, it stays that way as well, believe it or not. Some people, they stay very insecure about many areas in their lives, even as adults. Now, what is missing for them? Absolute belief in themselves, that everything will be alright. Even if a person would reject you in that case, your life won't be over. It might temporarily hurt, you might feel sad and bad about it, but it's not the end of your life. However, if there's a lack of belief in ourselves, we don't even want to make the effort or the first steps for something that might be to our benefits, that might improve our lives. Not just ours, but maybe theirs as well. Maybe they've been looking at you with a certain curiosity and affection, and then you come together, you have a great relationship. That is the most positive way of looking at it. But that was just one of the things that I remember as a child I would suffer from. I would just panic almost, being scared that if the person would find out that I liked them, that I would be in trouble or something. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. Again, what was missing for me as a child? Well, belief and confidence in myself, thinking that I might not be good enough for them, right? Now this can grow on and on into other areas of our lives. I remember in high school, for example, when I was going there for the first time, I think being nervous to a certain extent is just fine. However, with me, it would always take a sort of panic, almost like you would meet all these new people that you have never met before, and you're going to have to stay with these people for a certain amount of time every day for a couple of years. Now, usually, of course, after a while, you get to know people, and then it's not that you're not nervous anymore. Here's the thing: that initial experience, that initial feeling of doubts, worries and fears, of being uncomfortable because you haven't developed the belief in yourself that you are going to do just fine, is what stops most people from going for the greater things that they could have in their lives. Are you one of those? If so, well, this video can give you some ideas to think about, so you can hopefully start approaching these areas in your life from a different angle and in a better way, so you can finally get the belief you need in yourself in order for you to get what you want. So I've talked about this in a previous video. When I first started studying the mind, this was over a decade ago, like almost 12 years ago. Actually, it is 12 years ago. There was a long time in my life where, even though I felt like this is good information, I didn't dare to share it. Well, why? I had this funny idea that because of my age, I couldn't do it. Like, it's so weird, because I was thinking, because I'm so young, and then the people I would be coaching, so to speak, helping out, might be older than me, and therefore they might not take me serious because I'm younger than them. And because of all of this, now is not the right time for me to do the work. That's what I would reason for quite some time within myself. I kept studying, I kept working on this material in my own life, I kept getting better at it, but I would still be afraid of talking about it. Now, years later, I'm 30, I don't have that issue, just like meeting new people. I don't have the issue of being literally like almost in a state of panic, like, oh, I don't know this person, oh my God, what, I don't know, will it all go alright? Though I don't have that issue, thankfully, anymore. But what changed again is my belief in myself, of what I'm capable of doing. Now, I might still be considered a young person to some people out there. I mean, this has happened to me over the years, especially the last few years, where people first were like, you're in your 20s. How come you know all this stuff about the mind? There's not a lot of people in their 20s, they would say, that know all this about the mind. How did that happen? Well, of course it happened because I first sought out people that knew more about the mind than I did. And second, I kept studying it and working at it in my own life. Because if you do that, you get better at something, and then your belief in yourself starts to be raised to a higher and higher degree. Now, a trick here to remember again is that we're working with our own minds. Everything about your life depends on how you're using your mind. So right now, I might still be considered young to you, depending on your age. But I realized I don't have to be a fossil. I don't have to look like a prehistoric man, so old and gray with a white beard before I start talking about the mind. It's just a fact. I can do it right now. I am doing it already. So it proves that, hey, all this time I held myself back by not believing in myself enough and do the work even if I was younger than I am right now. Okay, so where do we start? Since your life depends on how you're using your mind, literally everything, the way you experience your reality, depends on how you're thinking and imagining and feeling within yourself. A trick that I actually subconsciously started using during high school, even with certain goals, was to always imagine the activity within my mind where I felt like confidence and belief in myself was lacking. And what I mean by that is that you're facing situations in your life that you would like to do better in, but you're noticing a lack of belief. Now, the most comfortable, most easiest thing you could do right here, right now, within your own home, without having to go out of your comfort zone physically, is to simply close your eyes and do the activity within your own consciousness. This means simply that you see yourself and feel yourself doing the very thing that, physically speaking, you feel like has a lack of belief and confidence. So, for example, I could, in my mind, give these presentations, and then as I repeat that experience within my consciousness, I become more and more confident in my ability to do it. Because I wrote in a book as well, ultimately, people might think you're a little crazy or weird for the things that you do in your world, but ultimately it doesn't matter what other people think. It's all about what we think about what we are doing. What do you think about the things that you're doing in your world? Again, if there's a lack of belief in yourself, odds are you're thinking more towards a negative direction than a positive direction. And in order to change that around, you want to refocus your mind towards positive direction, meaning that you're going to see yourself doing whatever you need to do in this world with confidence, with passion, with total divine belief that you're capable of doing it, regardless of how you've done it in the past, regardless of how many times you failed in your past. You're going to see within your imagination that yes, you are capable of doing the great things that you want to do for yourself and your life, and that you keep repeating this process within your consciousness. It starts to grow. It starts to become stronger and stronger. That's what I'm doing with these videos right now. If I had still been like, I might still be considered too young, well then I would have not done the work, because I would still hold myself back. I wouldn't believe in myself. I wouldn't have the belief necessary to do this work. The belief necessary in the sort of work that I do and others of this nature is total conviction in your own message. It doesn't matter if other people don't believe in what I say, if they think it's absurd, if they believe it doesn't work, because I know from personal experience it works. So now I have a foundation of conviction from which I can operate and from which my belief in myself springs forth. Do you have such a foundation for yourself and your goals in life? Because that is where you want to aim your attention. Because with such a foundation, all things become possible. You'll develop the belief and confidence you need in yourself in order to get where you want to go in life. Now this whole concept about not being old enough to do what you want to do, it was mostly based on the idea that we, generally speaking, work with the concept that if a person is older, they have more life experience. That is true. Physically speaking, they have more life experience. But it doesn't mean that they're wiser than a person who is younger than them. Imagine that. Wisdom doesn't just depend on the amount of years that you spend on planet Earth. So even somebody that might be 30, 40 years older than me might, realistically speaking, be more ignorant about stuff concerning their reality than me. Likewise, I might be more ignorant than somebody else out there. This is what happens. So we also don't want to make it more complicated than it really is. Where it's like, okay, age has nothing to do with wisdom. Where does wisdom come from? It comes from the development of our own consciousness, of total, utter self-reflection of what we're capable of doing and of where we're going. So what are you capable of doing? Are you starting to grasp that you're capable of doing great things? Are you starting to grasp that if you have a lack of self-confidence, self-belief, or belief in yourself, if that's lacking, are you starting to realize that it's in your hands, that you hold the power within your mind to change that around, instead of being a victim of that lack of belief in yourself? I've talked to people throughout my life that had dreams and goals, and they seemed really passionate about it. When they worked at it, they were really good at it. They had the talent, you could say, to do something awesome in this area of their lives. Now, if I would even just remotely suggest, why don't you dedicate your life to this, instantly the door shut of their mind. Why? Because their self-image wasn't living up to that. We talked about this in previous videos, the importance of self-image. However, they would just start reasoning that, no, I could never do this, or no, it's, I like doing this for now, I'm passionate about it, but no, I could never be successful in this. What was missing for these people? Again, from a different angle, what's missing for most people is that absolute belief in ourselves, that yes, I'm capable of doing it. If I'm passionate about something, and if I have the talent, that's even greater, but if I have at least a passion, then yes, I already have the possibility and power within me to do something with it in my life. But if my belief in myself is very weak and very low, then I don't dare to step out and make stuff happen. Then you're always reluctant and scared to share of yourself with the world. What am I doing right now? I'm sharing of myself with the world because I don't have that lack of belief in myself. Even if people would mock what I share, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm just going to keep doing what I want to do with my life. That's the point you got to reach for yourself. So a lack of belief can be remedied by learning to imagine yourself already doing the things that you would like to do in this world and becoming familiar with that concept within your mind first and foremost. In other words, you want to make it to a point where it starts to feel natural for you to do such activities. So, no matter what your goals are, no matter how bizarre they might seem to your friends and family, if you yourself but learn to feel comfortable expressing these activities to the world, well, then you're in a position to make it greater and greater in your world as well, because the foundation has finally been set. So the foundation shouldn't be operating from a lack of belief in ourselves. You may have been grown up with a lot of condemnation, like people complaining about you, mocking your work, and then you stop believing in yourself. This happens to so many of us. We do have those dreams as children, but your parents would perhaps mock it. Your friends, your peers, they would mock it. And after a while, you would just give up on your own dreams. Isn't that sad? You don't have to give up on your dreams. You simply have to believe in yourself so that your dreams can be expressed with and through you. Because a dream lies beyond your current reality. It shows the spirit of the universe trying to do something unique with you and your current existence on planet Earth. It's a beautiful concept, again, once we grasp this. And it should restore belief in yourself, where it's like you realize your dreams, these desires for a better life, are God-given. It's like the spirit of the universe is trying to want you to go for it, so that your life not only will improve, but that improvement starts to flow towards other people altogether. Because the things you start creating and doing, because you're so passionate about it, will positively influence other people who observe or enjoy what you're actually doing because of that dream that you hold within your mind. So your belief in yourself greatly determines what you'll be capable of doing. So in order to improve that belief in ourselves, we have to understand that the dreams that we have, we can't have them unless it is possible for us to achieve them. You have to clearly grasp this point. The dreams you have, even though you might have a lack of self-belief in yourself, regardless, the dreams that you have them because they are in potentiality capable of being realized by you yourself. And that's a beautiful thing, again, to also grasp. Because if we put our attention on, I don't have the confidence, I don't feel comfortable right now, people are gonna laugh at me, they're gonna mock me. It's like, but wait a minute, the universe gave me this dream, so why aren't I going for it? You know, we're so trained to let other people control us. We're so trained to just go along with the crowd that we lose track of our individual dreams. And those individual dreams, you know, they need absolute confidence in ourselves and believe in ourselves in order for us to make them happen. In order to restore that belief in yourself, you're going to have to start being nice to yourself within your own mind. Let go of all the doubts and worries and ridicule you have gotten in your life. And start affirming for yourself that yes, I have this dream, it's my dream, and I'm going to make it happen regardless of what anyone else says about it. If you keep repeating this concept to yourself every single day with feeling, with conviction, that is when you start restoring belief within your own mind. Believe in yourself. Now it's an interesting point to make, because again, these things are so subtle that some people don't even realize that this is what's going on within their own consciousness. They don't realize that the doubts and fears and worries they feel might actually be an indication that they haven't developed the conviction in what they're doing yet. But just like anything, you can improve everything in life. You can strengthen your convictions within yourself. So again, let me remind you, what I want you to do is imagine. You imagine yourself doing the very thing you desire to have, be, and do physically. And as you keep repeating that process, it starts to become stronger and stronger within yourself. You become more and more compelled to live in that manner as you saw within your own mind. That's the beauty of the power of your imagination. So to rediscover, believe in yourself, you're going to have to let go of everything that contradicts such a state within your own consciousness. Again, the issue that we're facing is when you start to believe in the ridicule, in the limitations that we're taught to you by your world at large, by the people in your world as you were growing up, that is actually behind most, if not, it might be the entire issue people are facing as adults, where they're like, I don't understand why my life is so bad. I don't understand why I don't have the confidence to do the thing that I want to do. Had you been raised as a child being taught you can do absolutely great things, just imagine, my son, my daughter, just imagine it. Don't let other people sway you. Don't let them dissuade you away from your dreams. Go for it. And if they mock you, let them mock. Because these people that mock you usually aren't living the life of their dreams also. So it's kind of sad, but it's just a fact. People who live their lives the way they want to live them don't feel the need to mock other people about how they're living or what their dreams are. Instead, they would motivate them and like, yeah, you go for that as well. Then your life can be a lot of fun, just like how my life is a lot of fun doing what I like to do myself. We live in such a strange world, don't we? I think most of the issues we face concerning the subject of a lack of belief in ourselves, a lack of confidence, is all tied to how our society operates as a whole. We can't really change the entire society. It would be like a literal group effort. Everybody has to change their minds, which is probably never going to happen in that manner. So we're going to have to do this individually. It might seem sad and lonely at times, but the beauty is once you learn to change your mind at will, once you learn to develop and invoke a self-confidence and believe in yourself at will, well then you'll become a self-directed individual who isn't dependent again on other people. Yes, you might need other people to make your dreams come true, but you have that confidence, that belief in yourself, that even if those people that are going to help you don't really believe in the size and the bigness of your dream, you know that if you just hold on to your dream, if you just work on your dream regardless of other people, you start to discover that yes, the quality of your life, the way your life is formed, is completely dependent on the pictures that you hold in your imagination, the visions that you have within your mind. Again, once you really grasp this, you'll start to see that if you have a lack of self-confidence and belief, start seeing yourself full of belief in yourself, with conviction, with belief that you can do the great things that you see within your mind. Start seeing yourself as a confident person. Start seeing yourself confidently executing your goals within your mind. And then watch what happens. Because if you start seeing it in your mind, you're going to be compelled to do it physically with your body. And then you'll start to act as a more confident person over time. But there's one element that we shouldn't forget about. Something I'm familiar with as well. The element of beating up on ourselves. When you learn more about your mind, there will be times when you might not live up to the wisdom that you've developed so far, and then you might have a tendency to beat up on yourself. Now we have to be careful of this, so let's talk about this aspect real quick as well. Beating up on ourselves. The more you study consciousness, the more you learn how to live a better life and how to be better as a person. Yet still, because of old habitual ways of living, old habit patterns, we might accidentally not live up to that wisdom. You don't want to know how many times this has happened to me. In fact, anybody who studies their mind is going to notice this. There will be times where you actually start to realize, I could have done better. I made a mistake there. I didn't act up to my own wisdom. And then there's a tendency to beat yourself up for it, where you're like, you want to kind of get negative towards yourself. Don't do it. Instead, it's those mistakes that we make along the way that help us grasp in a better and better way on how we can avoid that mistake in the near future if it ever occurs again, if we face a similar situation. So in your case, you start to see yourself as a confident person, right? Full of belief and conviction in what you're doing and what you're standing for. And then perhaps some days you're not acting like that. You might act still from a place of doubts and worries and intimidation, being scared. Don't beat yourself up then. This is what you want to remember. That's okay, it's part of learning, it's part of growing. But the more you start training it, the easier it will become. Eventually, the mental picture, the mental version that you have built for yourself will take charge quite literally of your physical self, and then it starts to express itself, and you become better at it. You become better and better at being a person of conviction, of belief in themselves, of confidence, absolute confidence in their abilities to do what needs to be done in order to get what they want out of life. But every time you make a mistake, every time you don't live up to your own wisdom, just understand it's part of life. We all make mistakes. So what I'm trying to convey here is the idea that don't approach this like the idea that you have to always be perfect, like it always has to be right. You might have a tendency to be perfectionist in what you're doing, which is okay. It's good to try to do better and to do it to the best of your abilities, but whenever you do make mistakes, just know it's part of life. And just remember, instead of dwelling on the mistakes you've made, instead of dwelling on the fact you didn't live up to your own wisdom for a little bit, redirect your mind again back to the mental picture, to the mental vision of yourself being confident and a wise person, a person of total conviction, of total belief in themselves. This is the process. You start to imagine yourself acting in a certain way physically, and then over a certain period of time you will become the embodiment of that mental version of yourself. This is how you restore belief in yourself, an actual divine belief in yourself. It's all up to you. How would you see yourself if you had total belief in yourself? How would you act if you had total confidence in yourself? Just start entertaining the idea within your consciousness. Just see it in your imagination and then let it become your life. Let yourself become the embodiment of the change that you want to see in your physical world. So if we're going to condense this whole video all over again, believe in yourself is the most important part in order for you to achieve anything great in life. If there's a lack of belief in yourself, start seeing yourself within your mind's eye as somebody that does believe in themselves, that does have total conviction in what they do, that does have total utter self-confidence, that they're capable of doing whatever needs to be done. You have to practice this technique, you have to work at it every day. But the beauty is, you can do it from the comfort of your own home again. So you don't have to do, as I said earlier, anything crazy or whatever. You just sit at home, you close your eyes, and you start seeing what sort of person you would be or need to be, what sort of amount of confidence you feel you need. And then with that concept in your mind, inside your mind, you start acting as if you already have that confidence, as if you already have that belief in yourself that now seems to be lacking in order for you to achieve what you want. Because every dream that we have depends on a certain way of acting, a certain way of living, a certain way of behaving. And we want to become familiar with that within our own minds first and foremost, so we can then start to express in and as our lives. This is always the golden thread running through these videos. It's your mind, it's your own mind that controls your destiny. So let's make it a great destiny for ourselves. With that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.